Hi, welcome back. Elizabeth Whelan here, artist on the island of Chappaquiddick, part of Martha's Vineyard up in Massachusetts. Floating out in the ocean, and you're here in my studio with me. And I want to talk today for just a couple of minutes about signatures and why I want you to sign your artwork, whether or not you feel that you're a professional artist or good enough or your piece is good enough or any of those sorts of things. So I have just finished doing an abstract art demo, and I had done a piece that I wasn't quite sure about. And I had it hanging around my studio to see if I needed to do something more with it. And when I ended up by mistake putting the board it was on up on its end, you can see it over my shoulder here. I decided, hey, I kind of like that. I'm going to call it done. And when I call a piece of artwork done, when I feel like, all right, there's nothing else I'm going to do to that, I like it well enough to keep it, I'm going to sign it. And I signed it E.R. Whelan. And I sign it small. I don't have to make a huge big deal of it, but to me, it's a way to signify that that piece is complete and complete enough to my satisfaction that I'm not going to continue to work on it. So I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. I've been teaching a number of artists who are people with talent who are coming back into their careers later in life. I do, one-on-one personal private classes with people. And many of these people who have talent do not want to sign they're not sure that they're an artist or that they're good enough or any of those other little catchphrases. And yet they're producing work, finished pieces. And my feeling is that you sign your work. Number one, anybody else who comes across this later will want to know who did it. Whether or not you're around, that work will have more value by having a signature on it. That's just the fact of the matter. Also, who knows? You may become posthumously extremely famous and you're helping out some archivist years down the road to identify your work. So you've got that as well. From a personal point of view, if family members or children or whomever might possibly be ending up with your artwork at some point, to have something actually signed by you, that's very personal. But in the here and now, when you've got that work hanging around, what it says to you personally to have your signature on there, it says, I completed these pieces. I am not necessarily in constant training. Every single piece is not maybe a masterpiece, but I like this well enough to consider it done and keep it around, and therefore it is worth my signature. So how to sign? I spent a long time practicing my signature before I kind of got it down for how I was, especially in paint. What a nuisance. So have a signature that you've practiced. Put it pretty small on the painting. It is really distracting to see somebody whose signature is half the size of the artwork. So keep it recognizable. For artists who are professional artists, we have to have our signature on there. Really, it's our calling card, it's our logo. So, it needs to be on there. We need to claim that work. But for anybody, I would say, you still keep it on the small side. Often I do it in a color that is sort of a mid-range color from the work that I'm doing. I might have it a little bit darker just so it can be seen if it's on a painting. On a piece like this abstract here where I've kept the white around the edges, I just did it in pencil at the bottom. And I do try to plan where it's going to go so that it doesn't get in the way and detract from the artwork itself. And here's a pro tip. If you're putting a signature on a painting, wait till the painting is dry. Because that way, if the signature doesn't turn out just right, and it can be very difficult to do a signature in paint, then you can wipe it off and do it again. Frequently have had to redo my signature so that it doesn't look like a big blob in the corner. So that's just something to keep in mind. But please do sign your work. Your time here working as an artist needs to be recorded, and you need to take accept authorship of the work you've done. Your work is often much better than you think it is. So please add a signature. Thanks so much. Talk to you next time.